What's going on, guys? Ironcane here, back with another World of Breakers video, and in today's video we're going to be doing a Raider tutorial, kind of just a general overview of Raider. I'm going to be picking Frieza for this match just because I feel like he's probably a good like all-around Raider, even though he is like, you know, a top tier Raider. I do think he is pretty good, and in terms of like leveling up, I think he's probably the best example to like showcase here. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go ahead and queue up and show you guys things once we get into a match. Alrighty, so we're loading into our match here, and there's pretty much two ways, I guess three technically, but two main ways you can go about playing Raider, right? So the two main ways is to either just go for civilians or try to go to survivor spawns, right? So wherever you spawn as Raider, typically survivors spawn on the opposite end of the map, right? So to show that first, typically for Raider, again, what you would be doing is either going for civilians or going for survivors, or doing a little bit of both. So here I just did like a little view of the map, and I found this civilian here, and we're gonna get a little bit of evolution charge towards our level 2 off of killing this civilian. But of course you will get the most evolution charge from actually killing survivors. So for Frieza specifically, I mean, I would go more in depth with him as in like a traditional like Frieza like overview, but he can toss out Zarbon Dodoria. That's kind of unique to him. But as we see, I spawned in C, and we actually had people spawn in E, and then we had some people spawn over here in B. As you get familiar with the game, you might have a better idea of where actually people spawn. But these guys spawn over here, and I spawn over here. And it looks like some people also spawn in D. So keeping that in mind, if you are curious where survivors are, they're typically like on the opposite ends of the map. So like say, for instance, if I spawn in D, they probably spawn in like A, B, or like some portions of like C, right? But primarily where you want to be looking for civs or civilians is in like city areas. If you spawn away from a city, typically that means that there's going to be a lot of civilians in the city itself. So you just like destroy houses like these, and you'll find civilians and whatnot. Also, here is where vending machines are for survivors. Destroying these are actually pretty important because these will grant survivors bonuses and getting their Dragon Change cooldowns and whatnot as well. As Raider, you can actually open up crates, and I don't really recommend you doing that too often, but if you get lucky, you could find a Dragon Radar like this, and this could help you find Dragon Balls, this can help you find survivors, and if you get a civilian radar, that could be really, really helpful. But for Frieza in particular, this is helpful because typically you can find civilians, which are Namekians holding Dragon Balls, right? So when it comes to combat, every Raider will have a Ki Blast. And most Raiders will have active skills, and not all of them have supers at their level 1, but most of them will have active skills. You're going to be your slowest at level 1, but I did want to show you guys the difference between like flying just normally and flying while being locked on. So when you're actually locked on to a survivor, you will be moving faster, and this goes for every single Raider level in the game. So as you can see, my flight speed slightly increased by getting close to these guys. So if you're locked on, you'll fly faster, but if you lose lock on, you see now I lost lock on, I'm not flying as fast. I think they call this like pursuit mode, but yeah, you fly slightly faster, and of course when you shoot, you'll actually follow these guys in everything that they're doing, and you'll be able to hit them. But now we'll evolve and show some of the other things like during the defense phase and whatnot. Alrighty, so this is a guy that I found, and I'm going to execute him. So you won't really notice it here, just because we're so close to our level 2 anyway. But now that we executed him, if we execute him one more time, then he'll actually be dead and knocked out of the game. So these guys are going to go ahead and res him. And you'll see an X will appear over his name. That X means that if he gets killed another time, he'll be knocked out. So I'm going to go ahead and kill him here. I'm going to down him. And now when I finish him off, even if they res him again, they can go ahead and res him again. So these guys are going to go ahead and res this survivor really quick. And after they finish resing it, I'm going to execute him. And even when they do this, he'll still die. So as long as you down somebody and execute them once, you will be able to execute them and like knock them out of the game. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for this guy. So after I execute him here, this will knock him out of the game. And as you'll see, we get a lot of evolution power. Sorry, I pointed the wrong way. For taking this guy out. So say for this guy, if this person reses them, just res them really quick, bro. So we down this guy, and now he's being rezzed. I'm curious if the X pops up, because actually I'm not sure. Yeah, so the X actually does pop up. So you don't actually have to execute. So now if I finish this guy off now, I can actually execute him, right? So if you down somebody and they get rezzed, if you execute them, they will just be dead. So keep that in mind. So you do want to try to down people as much as you can, because if you down them, then you'll be able to execute them on the next time that you down them, and they'll have the X over their head. So you can kind of keep that in mind, because you can see like the little character profiles and see who has been executed at least once or has been rezzed at least once. That way you know who you can eliminate and who you have still yet to execute. So when it comes to destroying areas as Raider, I like to destroy areas where keys have been found, because that means like somebody is there. And I actually really like to destroy an area where a key has just recently been found, because survivors can actually plant a key before you finish destroying an area. So let's actually show an example of that. So these guys are currently working on a key and they got it to 75%. I'm going to destroy this area. This is what happens if you destroy an area and the survivors actually plant the key. So the whole point of destroying an area is to limit where survivors can go and decrease the super time machine startup speed. So these guys actually goofed and they did not plant the key in time. So this means that the super time machine startup time will actually go down to 15%. If they were able to plant the key before I destroyed it, it would have stayed at 20. So let's just show another example of that after I level up. Alrighty, so now I'm at my level 3 and I'm going to destroy this area, and these guys are going to plant the key. So this is what happens if you try to destroy an area and they plant the key. See how they planted the key? So now I'm going to destroy this area, and you'll notice that when it's destroyed, it'll look different than E. So now it's highlighted in red, meaning that the area is destroyed, it's no longer there. I mean, obviously, right? But it's not going to decrease the super time machine startup rate. So it's going to be at 15% still. So at this point, I kind of want to talk about area destruction in this way. I kind of just farm these two guys over here for like educational purposes. So if you get an early level 2 and you have area destruction and no keys have been found, you have the option to destroy one of the areas or wait for them to get a key. The reason why I typically wait for them to get a key is because if you, like for example this, it's pretty early on in the game, I'm eliminating an area where they have a key, and I'm taking out supplies, right? I don't really like to destroy areas where keys haven't been found yet, because I feel like that's kind of giving survivors like, oh, we don't have to look here now. We can just look at the remaining areas. But you can also look at it as a way of like, oh, now they won't be able to get all of the supplies in D. So like certain areas and certain maps have a lot of resources, have a lot of cover. If you just want to get those maps out of the way as soon as possible, that's totally fair. Just me personally, I like to wait until a key is found and just destroy those areas. That way, you know, they don't get to plant that key there. That way I can just confirm that, right? Because if as soon as they find the key and I start area destruction, there's no way they can plant that key unless all 7 survivors are on that key, right? So I want to show you guys a cool trick that you can do with the Dragon Balls. This player has the Dragon Balls. I know that because he picked them up. I'm going to go ahead and down him. So sometimes you might struggle. You really want to pick up these Dragon Balls, but you keep executing instead, right? So if you ever want to avoid this, this also works for Survivor, by the way. There's like a little trick for this. I don't know why it works this way. If you look up and you hit triangle, you will always take the balls. You will always take the balls as opposed to finishing off the Survivor. So that's just one way. Say if you're in a scuffle and you're being jumped and you want to get the balls really, really fast, just make the camera go up and then hit triangle and take the balls. So we reset just to kind of give ourselves more time. So again, I want to show you guys what happens if you destroy an area and the key is placed. So see, they placed the key and now I'm going to destroy it. This will not reduce the super time machine startup time. So now the super time machine startup time is at 15% instead of the 10 if we were able to destroy it before they planted the key. So I'm going to come back and grab my level 4 and destroy another area, and we're going to show you how low the super time machine can actually get. Alrighty, so now we're grabbing our level 4 here, and now I'm going to be able to destroy another area. So as Raider, you're able to destroy up to 3 areas per game, leaving 2 remaining, right? So depending on what you want to do, because escape time machine spawns like at the end of the game if you kill too many survivors or if you destroy the STM. So you could destroy areas like that, or you could destroy areas surrounding other ones, or you can make it really awkward for survivors to get around the map. If you want to make it awkward for survivors to get around the map, you could destroy area A, and the only way they could get to B is if they go through area X and vice versa, right? Or if you want to destroy area E and kind of just limit them to A and B, and you kind of just survey these 2 areas. It's kind of whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do for your preference. I'm just going to destroy area A, just because I feel like making it annoying is kind of interesting, depending on the map you're on. But it's pretty much just your preference and what map you're most confident in that they're not going to be able to plant the key. So now, unfortunately, because we weren't able to destroy C before they planted the key, we'll see that the super time machine startup rate isn't going to be 5%, it's going to be 10. So now the super time machine has spawned and it's at 10%, and that's because we destroyed areas D and A before they planted the key, but we didn't destroy C. If we were able to destroy C, we would have been able to get it as low as 5%. So as soon as the super time machine spawns, as Raider, what you want to be doing is getting it destroyed to 75% as soon as possible. The reason for this is because if you don't, and survivors end up stalling, taking the Dragon Balls off of you, you could potentially lose the game. All this allows you to do is keep your progress of the super time machine destruction. So because I got it to 75%, it's permanently at 75%, as opposed if it was like completely mint and I didn't touch it, I would have to start destroying it from the very beginning. So as soon as the super time machine spawns, typically what you want to do is go right to the STM and start destroying it as fast as possible. Next thing I want to show you guys is actually like flying. So I told you guys before that while you're locked on to survivors, you actually move faster as opposed to not being locked on. I think it's pretty noticeable how faster you can move with locked on equip. But also with flying, you can cancel flight at any time by hitting R3 on PlayStation, and this will stop you from flying. And believe it or not, depending on your Raider, I think like most level 1s are actually faster on the ground, and you can jump. You can actually jump. It's not as fast as it is with Survivor, but sometimes running on the ground is actually faster than flying sometimes with Raider. Just want to show you guys that. If you ever want to fast fall as well, you double tap the jump button, and you can fast fall just like this. It's faster than actually hitting the R3, which cancels flight. You'll see that this makes you drop slower. You guys have probably seen this, seen me cancel flight like this in a lot of my Raider videos. Instead of just flying around like this, it's, you know, it's okay. It's not that bad. But what's actually faster to get around is to cancel your flight like this. For some reason, that little fast fall animation you get gives you a little extra boost of speed. So you'll see me like kind of mash it like this. Move forward, cancel it, move forward, cancel it. And you'll notice that you'll move a little bit faster as opposed to just like raw flying. It's slightly faster. It's not insanely faster, but it is slightly faster. So now I'll show you guys what happens when you actually destroy the super time machine, right? So when you destroy the super time machine, escape time machine beacons will spawn. These will spawn on the 2 remaining areas of the map, and they will spawn in area X. This is always the case when you destroy the super time machine, or if you kill, how many players is it? If you leave 3 players left alive, the ETMs will spawn. At this point, you basically won the game. The only way the Raider can lose at this point is if I'm actually killed. If my life bar goes to 0 and the survivors kill me, that is the only way the Raider loses. If the survivors escape via ETM, it does take a shot at your ego. Most Raiders like want to kill all survivors, but if they escape, you still win. You still win. But we'll come back and talk about some other things as well. All right, so for level 1 Raiders, typically you really just want to be fighting in 1v1 scenarios. You don't really want to be, fighting multiple people at once. So I'm gonna go ahead and fight this guy. He's gonna go ahead and transform, and we're gonna duke it out, bro. Frieza versus whoever he is. Oh, Gogeta, dude, nice. So you can use your Ki Blast here. Also, make sure that you're dodging as Raider. Raiders and survivors can dodge. You can do vanish kicks with Raiders. You can do vanish counters with Raiders. And if you spam the dodge, you'll do this. You really don't want to be doing that. You want to be timing your dodges so you get more iframes. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. You also want to take advantage of your supers, like that. And then typically, as a Raider, you should be able to clean up anybody as a level 1 against other survivors. But now I'm going to show you guys what happens when we have 3 people attacking me at once. It can get pretty hectic. So now I'm going to show you guys what it's like to fight 3 people at once. So we're going to do that here. I'm going to fight these 3 guys. So this is not really the situation you want to be in as a Raider. You could try to like vanish counter and like teleport to like kind of stay afloat. But since you don't have any break strikes or like combo ending abilities, it can be kind of tough. And if you get stunned like this, it really leaves you open to attack. And you get, you know, you can take a lot of damage, right? Luckily, survivors can't combo you that long at level 1. But if they're like level 3 and up, they can get the best of you. But as long as you stay away, you play keep away, spam key blast, spam supers, active skills and whatnot. And try to take advantage of your vanish attacks as much as you can. You'll be able to survive the jumping. It's pretty much just surviving it, right? Because everybody's dragon change isn't infinite. So as long as you are able to just live and take out their change and whittle them down, you'll be able to live. But primarily, you do not want to be fighting multiple survivors at level 1. You kind of just want to be doing 1v1s as much as you can. So again, primarily the situation you want to be in is finding a survivor, forcing them to get in their dragon change. And you kind of just want to fight them, do as much as you can, take them out, use a mix of vanish skills and supers to get rid of them. If you see that they're like kind of overpowering you, what you could do as Raider is start backing up and spamming Key Blast. I know it's not exactly the most, you know, Chad way to play, but it is a good way to confirm that you will not like die at the very least, right? So now I executed this guy, and typically this might be how some games go. But if you go up against a better group of players, you might have to fight multiple people at once. So we'll show that off here. So I kind of want to show you guys like how to handle a jumping. So the way I typically handle a jumping is you want to like spam Key Blast as much as you can, and then when they get close, you cancel your flight and kind of just like train them. Like honestly, like you're playing COD Zombies, and kind of just keep doing that. Kind of just keep doing that, keep looping them, firing Key Blast when you can. And if you do get caught, that's okay. You might have to take some damage. But again, it's kind of just surviving and buying time. You want to just try to buy as much time as you can. And if you get too many people on you, you go for a break strike there. Now, I don't have any cooldowns on here, so that's why I got my break strike back. But you don't want to just waste it willy-nilly and whatnot. And if things get really bad, and you think you're going to die, you can even use area destruction just to buy you some time and kind of waste the survivor's dragon changes. This is if you're getting jumped and you're kind of afraid of dying. Typically, you really want to be doing this when their changes are about to end, because if you don't, then sometimes survivors will attack you just like that after you use your area destruction. So just keep that in mind. So the next thing I want to show you guys is how to handle stuns, because I feel like when a lot of Raiders get stunned, they instantly use their break strike, and this isn't always the wise decision to do. So I'm going to show you guys what I typically do. So here, I'm getting stunned, and I kind of wait to see if they do it again. And at the end, I do a break strike. So say like if I get stunned and they go in for like a melee combo, if they go for a super attack, that's when you want to be using your break strike. So I'll show an example of that here. So these guys are going to stun me, and now someone's going to go for either a melee or a super. That's when you want to be using your break strike. Because if you use your break strike too early, then you'll have to be forced to take all that damage. Let's just show that one more time. So somebody here is meleeing me. All right. So someone here is going to stun me. Someone here is definitely going to stun me. There's no way they wouldn't. So they got me with a stun. They all stun at the same time, actually. So I'm going to evolve. All right. So give me a sec. It's a little awkward. So now we're going to show this again. We're going to show this right. Okay, they missed the stuns. Now we're going to show it. So I got stunned here. I got stunned here. Now someone's going for a melee. That's when I go for my break strike. Sorry that was awkward. It's a little hard to communicate while doing this live with viewers, but basically that's what you want to be doing. when you get stunned, you want to wait for the super attack, or you just want to wait for the survivors to strike, and that's when you want to use your break strike to eliminate as much damage as you would be taking as possible. So one unique tech that you could actually do as Raider as well, you probably noticed whether you played Survivor or Raider that supplies spawn when the super time machine is out during the defense phase. So supplies typically spawn depending on where the Raider actually is. So the Raider, believe it or not, dictates where Trunks sends the supplies. It's really weird the way that works, and you can actually plan around this by having them spawn in an area and destroy the area. Alright, so the scariest part of being Raider is the survivors getting a level 4 transformation, and that's by them summoning, right? So, once somebody summons, you can actually stop it by using area destruction. So if you see somebody summoning an area, you can destroy the area, and that will stop the summon. So what the survivors essentially have to do at this point, they have to pick up the balls, and then they have to bring them to another area. Sometimes this might not work in your favor, because as you can see, they started summoning right again, but it might provide you enough time to stop them, like I just did here, and then, you know, now at this point, I can fight for the Dragon Balls here, right? So if you're ever in a situation like this specifically as well, when it comes to defending the pedestal, or defending the super time machine, it kind of depends how far along the super time machine is. If the super time machine has not been worked on at all, and it's really, really low, you might just want to defend the dragon pedestal just because you have some time like I do. But I'm going to show you guys another scenario. Alrighty, actually, before we get on that, I want to show you guys another thing of tech. The supplies spawn, believe it or not, where the Raider is. So depending on where you are, this is what I'm going to show you guys before. So we go over, they look like they're like in B. So we destroy the area. We can actually destroy one of the supplies. I believe we destroy A here. Depending on the map and depending on what area you're at, you might be able to take out both of the supplies. Unfortunately, in this situation, we were not able to do that, but we are able to take out one. And especially when you're level 4 or higher, the amount of supplies that come out is like kind of crazy. So even eliminating one of the supplies is pretty big. So definitely make sure to do that. But keep in mind, if the super time machine is cooking like this and you're intentionally going in an area to wait for the supplies to spawn, you're kind of throwing the match. You really only want to be doing that if the STM is, you know, not close to starting. So at this point in this situation, say they just started summoning and the super time machine hasn't even been worked on, there's this many players up. I mean, realistically, you're probably going to lose. But what you would have to do in this situation, you would have to abandon the pedestal as a Raider and just focus the super time machine. If they get the level 4, they get the level 4. It doesn't really matter. Your goal is to destroy the super time machine. So here, somebody's getting the summoning off. That's okay. We don't care. Our goal is to win. Even if we got to play like a puss or a wuss, whatever you want to say. We just won. The only way we lose at this point is if the level 4 kills us. So when it comes to fighting the level 4, the safest way to fight them is to kind of just spam your Ki Blast. Spam your Ki Blast, use your active skills, and use any specials that you have and play from afar. You can get in their face if you want and then go for a melee, but especially when there's multiple people up, you can get jumps. But I'll show you guys another scenario, what happens when the level 4 is out when you need to defend the super time machine. Alrighty, so I just want to show you guys how much you can actually decrease the super time machine by, because I don't think I actually showed you guys this. So if you destroy 3 areas where Ki has not been planted, you can reduce the super time machine startup rate to 5%. As you can see, it's very, very slow. But for this example, we're going to have somebody summon, and we're going to show what you should be doing during that situation. I didn't show you guys before, but the super time machine has 2 different like phases. So here is like when it's mint. When it's mint, it'll start from like the beginning and it won't keep progress. It'll keep some progress, but if you get it, like it explodes once, now it's at 25%, right? Every time it explodes, like by a big amount, that's when you made significant progress. So it's 25 and then 75%. So say now if I like go heck off somewhere and I come back, it'll permanently be at the 75%. So now this is, you know, say like the entire team is jumping me right now, or if I'm fighting the level 4, what do you do in this situation, right? So in this particular situation, just because I have a lot of time, you could get away with fighting this level 4 here, but I still think your best bet, since they just got supplies, what you primarily want to be doing is destroying the super time machine. Now, obviously, level 4 isn't going to allow you to do this, and if they're good, they really won't allow you to do it. But what you can kind of do as a raider is kind of just like dance around it. You could dance around the super time machine like this, and you can see like I'm kind of avoiding him a little bit. It's not perfect, and you probably are eventually going to get hit, but as long as you're like continuously like hitting the triangle button, you will be able to like gradually break it down. This is if you're being like crazy jumped, and you like really need to like break it down. But yeah, so if you're fighting a level 4, you pretty much just want to dance around the super time machine, assuming it's just you and him, and just try to avoid him as much as possible. But of course, you're going to get hit every now and then. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it when it comes to fighting Raider. I know we didn't get like super nitty gritty into like the supers or like the active skills or anything like that, but that's kind of how you want to like play as Raider for the most part. Do you guys want me to do specific Raider guides for each Raider in the game? Let me know. I kind of already did one for Broly, but I can revisit him if you guys want. But I kind of just want to go everything like that. If there's anything I miss, let me know in the comments below, and I'll go over it. But I did definitely want to go over how to play Survivor and how to go over with Raider. And I did a melee combat guide. If you guys have not checked that out, I do have that for Survivors. Same rules apply for Raiders as well, so definitely make sure to check that out. And I did a gauge guide. I did a skills guide, and I believe that's it. So let me know in the comments below if you guys need any other guides, and I'll of course add it to the playlist. There is a guide playlist, so make sure to check that out. And that being said, like, if you enjoyed, comment down below if you had any more questions. I'll make sure to answer in the comments below. And subscribe to the Ironcane channel for more guides like these, showcases, live streams, all the good stuff. Catch y'all at the next one. Take care, stay safe, have fun. Peace out.